and welcome to the third edition of the Good News Program, where I, your host, will showcase good news from the month of June. I'm trying on this accent so you, the viewers, don't get bored. You know, mix it up a bit. But don't worry, I won't do it the whole time, or I might drive you stark raving mad. Or perhaps I will. So let's get on with it, shall we? The first story is actually 3 stories in one, which then lead on to the next story. There were lots of days in June. There was National Best Friends Day, World Environment Day, and World Yoga Day.
Nowadays, it's safe to say there's a holiday for almost bloody anything, and National Best Friends Day on June 8 is definitely a special one, because you can celebrate that one person who's been with you through thick and thin by talking to them on the phone, sending them a note, or even go round to their house. Friendship isn't a big thing, it's a million little things. So put June 8 in your diary for next year, National Best Friends Day. World Environment Day on the 5th of June is celebrated every year to raise global awareness to take positive environmental action to protect nature and the planet Earth. It is run by the United Nations Environment Programme, so pop it in your diary. The first ever International Yoga Day was on June 21. It was declared International Yoga Day in December 2014, and the Indian Prime Minister chose the date to be June 21 as it was the longest day of the year. Yoga is a physical, mental and spiritual practice or discipline that originated in India. And on this day, all around the world, as you can see in the pictures, people gather together in white to do yoga.
The 21st of June is also the winter solstice. The winter solstice is an astronomical phenomenon, marking the shortest day of the year. Worldwide, interpretation of the event has varied from culture to culture, but many hold holidays, festivals, gatherings, rituals, and other celebrations around that time. Here in Brisbane, we like to go to the Northey Street City Farm, where we gather, drink, eat, and make a big bonfire. Down in Tasmania, they like to do a nudie swim.
More than 700 people took a nude dip in the icy waters of the River Derwent in Hobart, Tasmania, to mark the winter solstice and the end of the annual Dark Mofo Arts Festival, which was organised by the Museum of Old and New Art. The water temperature was 11 degrees, but positively balmy compared to the surrounding air temperature, which was just 1 degree. The dip kicked off at 7:42 a.m. in the Nuddy.
They're all mad, stark raving mad. Now let's go to Indonesia, where there's been some good news for the environment.
One of the world's largest manufacturers of pulp and paper in Indonesia has announced earlier in June that it will immediately stop logging in all natural forests. Hooray! Loss of forest habitat through pulp, paper logging and palm oil plantations has pushed endangered species such as the Sumatran tiger, rhinos, elephants and orangutans closer to extinction. Asia Pacific Resources International Limited, April, announced it had completely eliminated deforestation under its new sustainable forest management policy. Greenpeace Australia Pacific said the good news came after more than 40,000 Australians emailed Australian paper supplier Office Brands asking it to stop buying from April because its paper was sourced from Indonesia's old-growth rainforests. April, which is Indonesia's second largest paper and pulp company, will now rely solely on plantations to provide the fibre for its pulp. The announcement comes after rival Indonesian company Asia Pulp and Paper, APP, announced in late 2013 it would cease logging in natural forests. This followed a decade-long Greenpeace campaign. So these two companies account for 80% of Indonesian pulp production and were the only large-scale producers who use rainforest fibre. Praveen Singhvi, Group President of April, said this is a major step in our 15-year sustainability journey. Well done, Praveen.
Good news, good news, good news! Now across to Nigeria, where there's been some really good news.
Nigeria made history this month by outlawing female genital mutilation. The ban falls under the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act that was passed into Senate recently and enacted into law mid-June. Female genital mutilation, also known as FGM, is the act of either partially or totally removing the external female genitalia for non-medical purposes. Communities that practice FGM often do so to reduce sexual desire in women, or to initiate girls to womanhood, among other purposes. According to 2014 UN data, 1/4 of the women in Nigeria have undergone FGM, and according to UNICEF, more than 130 million girls and women have experienced FGM in 29 countries in Africa and the Middle East, where the practice is most common. With the help of community activism, campaigns and numbers of organizational efforts to end this practice, UNICEF reported that teenage girls were now 1/3 less likely to undergo genital mutilation today than 30 years ago. Now with the new law criminalizing this procedure, the hope is the ban will fully eliminate this practice and be strongly enforced to combat any existing societal pressures. And hopefully other states and countries that still practice this draconian ritual will follow suit.
Oh, thank God for that! Good news, good news, good news. Here in Brisbane, there is a really happy and mellow guy called Paul Forrest. He is also very, very clever. He likes algorithms and breaking codes and things like that. And he has come up with a way to revolutionize the global donation economy.
The global donation economy is referring to the billions of dollars that is donated by people across the world. What you give to Greenpeace, what you give to Red Cross, what you give to World Vision, in the hope that it reaches its targets. Hundreds of billions of dollars are injected every year to the global donation economy, which is struggling with substandard operational infrastructure and a lack of transparency that is creating distrust among donors. Now, this information is sourced directly from the Cluster website. Cluster is a non-profit organization fusing search and social technologies to revolutionize our world's donation economy. The primary purpose of Cluster is to significantly improve the operating efficiency of the global donation economy through a system of transparent, dynamic democracy. Cluster is a concept for a networking tool that will fuse architecture from the latest search and social technologies. Cluster focuses on maximizing efficiency through the strategic allocation of influence and resources across a large network. The structure moves away from systems that focus on centralization and into a system that focuses on efficiency. With this new system, we believe it is possible for democracy and large-scale organization to exist in harmony. We currently face the prospect of environmental catastrophe and exist amidst vast resource inequalities. Yet our current economic, socio-political models remain unable to provide viable solutions. Meanwhile, the technology to connect and empower humanity for change now exists. We only need the courage to use it. The website launched a few weeks ago, so get online because there's lots to read at cluster.life.
Good news, good news, good news. As you all know, because it was in the newspapers and on everybody's lips, the Supreme Court legalized same-sex marriage across the United States.
The court ruled that the Constitution's guarantees of due process and equal protection under the law means that states cannot ban same-sex marriages. With the ruling, gay marriage will become legal in all 50 states. President Barack Obama, in heartfelt remarks, praised the ruling as a victory for America. Today we can say in no uncertain terms that we've made our union a little more perfect, he said at the White House, which changed its Twitter avatar to the rainbow colors of the growing gay rights movement. This decision affirms what millions of Americans already believe in their hearts. When all Americans are treated as equal, we are all more free.
Oh hurrah! Good news, good news! Now across to Plymouth, England.
A pizza delivery driver from Plymouth is organising a Ginger Pride event in the southwest of England. Stuart Parry, who sports a fine head of ginger hair himself, is organising the event for 2016 through his Facebook page, Gingers, The Gathering. We want to celebrate the fact that we're a little bit different, but not too different, Parry said. The only thing we have in common is our hair colour, but that gives us shared experiences. And the intention behind Ginger Pride? Well, it's just for fun.
Good news, good news, good news. Well, that brings us to the end of the 3rd edition of the Good News programme. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't liked the Facebook page yet, please do. Here's the address. And just a little reminder that the Good News programme relies on you, the viewers, sending me good news. Because I live in the suburbs and I don't read the newspaper because it's too depressing. So please, send me through your good news that you see during the month as you're wandering around, and I'll put it in the next month's programme. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.